I was asking Matt what his definition of white people was, because I don't disagree with what's been said in terms of the American context, but I also think we need to be careful, because the United States context is a very historically specific context, and not that racial oppression doesn't exist in other parts of the world. I often tell people, I'm not saying Italian people can't be racist. They can be racist, no doubt. It's not like you step in Italy and black people are like, oh yeah, come on. But it's different because the United States experience has a certain experience. So when we talk about overcoming racial oppression and we start talking about white privilege and overcoming white privilege, I think if we say that if we read the whole world with the glasses of the American reality, we're also doing a disservice. For several reasons. First, because there are cultural determinants that make other cultural experiences very rich, and that we have a lot to learn from other cultural experiences. And I just wanted to make that, I wanted to delimit that. Because, and I'm not saying Italy in particular, I'm just saying having lived in a different country and living racism and prejudice in a different country, I know that there are different twists and turns, and when we talk about white people and then we talk about world revolution, I want to make sure we're not American-centered and imposing our American-centered bias on the rest of the world. And we have to be very careful with that. And one of the things that got me in African-American studies is that I knew that the U.S. promotes diligently an image abroad. Italy, with a better school system, is trying to imitate the American public school system because most Italians are convinced that there is no poverty in America and that everyone in America is happy and concerned, like in The Bold and the Beautiful, who are they going to screw the next morning? Okay? Many people abroad think that that is the truth of American life. And I think the African American experience has a lot to say to how untrue that is. But also the diversity that we sometimes brag about in America is a result of the struggle of black people in this country. So the African American experience, I think, has a lot to tell abroad in terms of how fake the soap operas and all that America portrays is. So I think we have to be very careful in using our American experience pro the good that we have in this country, if there is any, and we would have to decide what that is, and not pro-capitalism. Because that's the other evil eye behind all of this that we need to talk about. Because we can say white people as much as we want, but one of the things that makes this country so oppressive is capitalism. And we are exporting that, and we could say white people all you want, but we are exporting that in Africa. We are exporting that all around the world, and we need to take responsibility for that ideology that we're exporting in the name of free market too. So it's a little bit more complex than that, and not that white privilege does not exist in the United States. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying let's be careful before we impose our view on the world and forget about other factors as well. We're talking about revolution, and we got to zoom out and zoom back in. Go ahead, Matt.
Do I have time to respond to that? We just asked, who is white? And I'm willing to say, American context, it's anybody who's not profiled on a regular basis, anybody who is able to live their life and not think about how race affects it, period. And I would also go much broader. We go to a global context, and I'm willing to sit here and say that a white identity really does not exist without a black identity to negate it, to define it. Rita mentioned capitalism on a global scale. White folks are also folks who, in our history, have not been the victims of slavery or colonialism. Black folks around the world are at the bottom of social orders. White folks, we carry privilege on every continent in the world. And I'm going to say every continent because the first time somebody gets to Antarctica, it's going to be some white folks. And we will claim that for our own and put up a white flag. And probably colonize that too, if there's anything to take from the land or any people to enslave. Europe's. You need me to stop?
Yeah, because I'm going to say,
Go ahead.
because we only have like 3 minutes left, Amy, Joe, Rita, I mean, in terms of sort of, yeah, because we only have like about 3 minutes left. No, Joe, Amy, she's just,
Oh, yeah.
we have not heard your voice
Yeah, in a while.
in a while.
I don't know. I don't have anything. Go ahead.
Interrogate yourself. You have to interrogate yourself on all levels. You have to take the time to think, to sit in a room by yourself and say, why is it that I think that about that person? Was it because I had that racialized gaze? Was I objecting that person? What was it? That's the most uncomfortable thing you can do as a person, is to self-interrogate yourself, okay? But it's the most effective way at growing as a person. I expect it from myself, I expect it from you. You should expect it of me too. I ain't gonna let you down.
You're not just talking about white people, are you?
No, I'm talking about everybody.
That's not.
No, I'm talking about everybody. Everybody with regard to race, class, gender, sexuality.
That sounds better than the segregation statement. It's still bugging me.
But here's the other thing. And for real, I understand how you
Well, hold on, can you just explain a little bit more, because before they drown you, can you talk a little bit more about the segregation statement?
Yeah, I don't understand. This is never going to, everybody needs to work together. I mean, saying white people should teach white people, and black people should teach black people, and black people can't teach white people, and white people can't teach black people, and you're going backwards.
Okay, I have a say on that. Well, I know Matt's perspective is a little bit different, but for me, the struggle is big. And once you get to the mirror and you look at yourself in the mirror and you look at your life path and you look at where you are, you will know where you need to do the work that you need to do. And as long as, I've gone through the self-interrogation. And even in classrooms, sometimes you don't get to every student. You may not agree with his sweeping statement, but that still stands. My problem with Matt's statement sometimes is I think that I agree his criticisms of whiteness, but I'm afraid that then I don't want us to walk away and think, well, we might as well not do anything because we're going to be wrong either way. And I'm scared of that when I hear him talk sometimes. Because we have a responsibility to do the work where we can do the work. And you all know your paths better than we do. We started out with our personal paths. My personal path brought me to Philadelphia so that I can go back to Italy and work with African people. That's my path.
But I don't think by when you just separate each other and go, all right, white folks gonna work with white folks, black folks gonna work with black folks, we're gonna meet together sometime in the future and everything's gonna be fine.
Hey man, and you know what? And I hope that that's not the only thing you take from this conversation.
Oh, no, that's just the one thing that was bugging me.
No, because I've taught this course enough to know that when people read the color complex, some white people will go, oh man, I didn't know blacks could be racist against other blacks. And that's all they learn out of the whole semester. I'm just saying that I don't agree with him either. You and I are on board with that, okay? I'm just saying that's not everything I took from what he said.
Black nationalism, that's
Thank you, guys. Thank you.